class is going to be thigh toning and thigh strength. So we're all going to be working on our hamstrings and our quads. We are going to start standing today. If you prefer to sit or lay down for our opening meditation, feel free to do so. Find what works in your body. I will be guiding for standing, but again, this is your practice, so find what works for you. If you are standing, I'd like to invite you to take Hasta Mudra, which is with the palms up and the elbows bent to 90 degrees. This is a receiving mudra. And once you get here, gently draw your eyes closed. And we will take a couple of moments to allow ourselves to arrive here and now. Begin to tune your awareness in towards your body. So release all attachment to the external world. It's time to arrive within for practice. Draw your awareness all the way to the feet and simply feel the connection of the ground beneath your feet. Maybe you slightly rock forward and back or stay perfectly still, but tune into the feeling of the ground beneath you. And gently press your feet into the ground so you feel a little lift throughout your body. Continue this lift through the crown of your head as you reach the crown of the head up towards the ceiling above you. Allow your facial expression to relax as the jaw softens. Allow the shoulders to melt down your body as the arms simply rest by your sides with the palms face up. Soften the chest and the belly and add just a subtle bend to your knees, softening the legs. Begin to tune into the feeling of the breath in your body, feeling into every inhale and exhale. Maybe you notice the breath in the nostrils, the chest, the belly, maybe elsewhere, but start to notice where you feel the breath within. Take a couple breaths, maybe you even exaggerate the inhales and exhales, really filling the lungs and emptying them completely when you breathe. Allow yourself to simply begin to tune inwards by following the feeling of the breath. We'll pause here with the breath for a couple more rounds of breath. Continue to stand nice and tall with the crown of the head reaching up towards the ceiling. The spine is nice and long. Feel the breath in your body and begin to release everything else in the mind. Once you feel a steady connection to your inhales and your exhales, gently peel your eyes open and find somewhere to look on the ground ahead of you. Continue to feel the breath in your body, though the eyes are now open. So the gaze is inwards now that vision is back in the picture. From here, flip your hands so the palms are now face down, so you can see the tops of your hands, but the arms are still going to be bent at 90 degrees. We're going to begin to warm up the legs. So on your next inhale, lift your right knee up and try to touch the knee to the hand. On the exhale, set it down. We're going to go to the other side. So inhale, left knee to left hand. Exhale, down. Continue this motion, inhaling to lift right knee now. Exhale to lower. And we're just going to continue repeating this to warm up the legs. So matching up breath and movement, and we're simply slowing down a march in place, coordinating it with the breath. So we inhale to lift one leg, exhale, lower, and vice versa. If you need to lower the hands a bit, feel free to do so you can stay balancing. Find where this works in your body. More than anything, we're coordinating breath with movement, synchronizing mind and body through the breath. So we're going to continue to march in place. Again, you follow your own breath. I'll be here doing it with you. Just warming up those legs. We'll do a couple more rounds. And do about one more time on each side. Once you have an even amount on each side, both feet on the mat, and allow those hands to come by your sides. If you need to shake out the arms, feel free to do so. Keep those feet hips distance and all 10 toes pointing forward. Hands come to the hips. Scooch your way over toward that left-hand side till that right foot feels light. This time we're going to bring the foot back behind us. So on your next inhale, lift that right foot back behind you, point the toes, and then right hip points forward so hips are square towards the front of the room. We're using that right glute to keep the leg lifted, and rather than leaning forward into it, try to keep the shoulders stacked over the hip points and the low belly pulling in. Couple more big breaths. You should feel that right glute working right now. Let's take 2 more. We're just warming up the legs. 1 more big breath. Exhale, set the foot down. Same thing other side. So shift the weight over to the right foot now. Let that left foot get light. And then once you feel balance, point those toes behind you, lift the foot up. Again, left hip points forward rather than opening it out to the side. Breathe deeply, shoulders stay stacked over those hip points. Low belly pulls in, crown of the head reaches up. Couple more big breaths. Again, should feel the left glute working here, squeezing to keep that leg lifted. Let's take 2 more big breaths. 1 more breath. Great job. Exhale, set the foot down. Keep those feet at hips distance, all 10 toes point forward, hands sweep out and around, palms touch on an inhale. On your exhale, begin to fold forward. Now as you do so, bend the knees. We're going to place the belly on the thighs. So bend those knees as much as you need to, until you get a connection with the belly, the rib cage, and the thighs. From here, you're going to grab a hold of your ankles, exhale, and then on your next inhale, begin to straighten your legs and only keep straightening until you can maintain connection with your belly and your thighs. Pause here and breathe deeply. So once you feel space or air between your belly and your thighs, you've gone too far. So this is really going to target opening up the backs of the legs deeply. So breathe through the backs of the legs. Allow the crown of the head to drape towards the ground beneath you. Keep pulling yourself to maintain the belly on the thighs. Breathe through the backs of the legs. Relax your jaw. A couple more big breaths here. We'll take 2 more big breaths. You're doing a great job. 1 more breath. Beautiful. On your next inhale, rise up halfway, pull the heart forward. Exhale, plant your hands and step your feet back behind you. Lower the knees, the chest, and then the chin down towards the ground. And on your inhale, inch forward, peel on up, low cobra. Exhale, child's pose. So knees spread wide, big toes touch, sink the hips back to the heels, and rest the head down towards the mat. We're going to pause here for a couple big breaths. Find the connection from the breath and the body. And just take a couple moments to tune back in if you've lost that connection. Allow the shoulders to relax down the back body. Soften the jaw and face. Feel the breath within. 1 more big breath. On your next inhale, come on up to tabletop position, hands and knees. On the exhale, curl the toes under, press up and back, downward facing dog. Take a big breath in your downward facing dog. And on your next inhale, either walk or step the feet up between the hands. Rise up halfway whenever you get to the top of your mat, and then exhale, fold to the feet. Inhale, soft bend to the knees and slowly roll on up, stacking 1 vertebra at a time, coming all the way up to standing. And then on your exhale, roll the shoulders down the back body. Great job. Inhale, hands sweep out and around, palms touch. Exhale, bow down to the feet. Inhale, rise up halfway, pull the heart forward, and this time, exhale, step only your left foot back behind you. We're going to come up to high lunge, so keep that back knee lifted. Inhale, hands reach up and sink down into that front knee. Now pause here, let's gain proper alignment here. Make sure the knee stays stacked over the ankle and that you can see your big toe. If you can't see your big toe, press your knee out toward the pinky toe side of your foot. Back knee lifts up away from the mat beneath you. Low belly pulls in and up. We're going to add some movement here. So on your next inhale, slightly straighten the leg. Not until it's completely straight though, just a slight micro bend. Exhale, lower back down. 2 more times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. 1 more. Working that thigh. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. We're gonna pause for 3 big breaths here, so really try to sink as low as you can down into that front knee. 1 more big breath. Great job. Exhale, hands come down to frame that front foot. Step that foot on back and lower yourself down towards the mat. Inhale to low cobra or up dog, straightening the arms. And then exhale, press it on back, down dog. This time we're gonna hold down dog for 5 big breaths. If you want to add some sort of movement to continue to add an active stretch in the backs of the legs, feel free to do so. Maybe you come up to the tippy toes, shift forward and back. Find what feels good. Breathe deeply though. Couple more big breaths here. Let's take 1 more. All right, high lunge on the other side now. So on your next inhale, left foot steps up between your hands, back knee stays lifted, find your balance and reach those fingers up towards the ceiling. Pause here, we're gonna find our alignment, so sink down into that front knee. Again, if you can't see your big toe, press the knee over toward that left-hand side, left hip pulls back, right hip presses forward, belly button in and up, back knee lifts up away from the ground. Let's flow. On your next inhale, slightly straighten the leg. Exhale, lower down. 2 more. Inhale, slight lift. Exhale, lower. Last one. Inhale, slight lift. Exhale, lower down. Holding for 3 big breaths. Keep reaching the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. Sink as far down as you can into that front knee. 1 more big breath. Great job. Exhale, hands come down to frame the front foot. This time, inhale, pop on up to the front of your mat. Rise up halfway, pull the heart forward. Exhale, fold to the feet. Inhale all the way up to standing flat back, hands sweep out and around as you rise. Palms touch at the top, and exhale, hands to heart center, down by the sides. Similar flow next, but we're gonna flow to warrior 2. So inhale, hands sweep out and around, palms touch. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, rise up halfway, pull the heart forward. This time, step only your left foot back, and then on your inhale, we're gonna spin that heel down toward the right side of your mat. Cartwheel the arms and hands up, sinking down to that front knee. So take a look, make sure your back foot's parallel with the short edge of your mat. Front toes are pointing towards the front of your room. And if you were to draw a line, your heel would intersect the arch of your back foot. So just take a moment, notice, sink down as far as you can into that front knee. Left hip pulls back, arms out to a T shape, and look over your right fingertips. We're gonna flow again. On your next inhale, come to slightly straightening that front leg. Exhale, lower down. 2 more. Inhale, lift on up. Exhale, sink down. 1 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Let's hold. Keep pressing that right knee toward the pinky toe side of your foot. Sink down as far as you can. 1 more big breath. That thigh is working. Exhale, hands cartwheel down. Frame that front foot. Back heel lifts up. Front foot steps back, plank pose, lower yourself down to the mat. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, down dog. Alrighty, 5 big breaths in your downward facing dog. Breathe deeply here. If you're ready to hold down dog, really press through the hands, shoulders, pull down the back body and spread wide as the inner upper arms roll out away from the ears. Heels press down towards the mat. It's okay if they don't touch as the glutes and hips press backwards. Couple more big breaths here. Make sure you're breathing. Feel the body, feel the breath. Alrighty, warrior 2 on the other side now. So when you're ready, on your next inhale, left foot steps up between the hands. Lift on up, cartwheel the hands, and that back heel spins down so the toes are now pointing toward that right hand side. Arms come to a T shape. Sink down into that front knee. Right hip pulls away from the front of the mat. Breathe deeply here. Let's begin to flow. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. 1 more. Inhale to rise. Exhale, sink on down. We're going to hold for a couple of big breaths. Try to sink as far down as you can into that knee. 2 more big breaths. 1 more. On your exhale, cartwheel the hands down to frame that front foot. Back heel lifts up and then pop on up to the front of your mat. Rise up halfway and pull the heart forward. Exhale, fold to the feet. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. Hands sweep out and around as you rise. Palms touch at the top. Exhale, hands to heart center. Pause here. Maybe you close the eyes. Take a couple moments to simply be in your body. Maybe you feel the heat within, the slight increase of your heart rate, the body begin to work. Slow down the breath, so if you notice a panting like nature to your inhales and exhales, try to even out the breath, draw it out. Simply be in your body. When you're ready, gently open the eyes and allow the hands to come by the sides. We're going to move through a fun little chair sequence next. So bring those feet to about hips distance again and all 10 toes point forward. So we're going to do one-legged chair pose. So when you're ready, shift the weight on over toward that left-hand side till that right foot gets light. So you'll be able to swing that foot in the air. If you need to, the toes can tap on the ground. Now we're going to sink our booties back so the knees stay stacked over that left ankle on your exhale. So pause here and see if you can keep that right leg lifted. It's okay if there's a bend to the knee, if it's too much to keep the leg lifted when it's straight. We're gonna pause here for a big breath. And then on your inhale, just slightly straighten that left leg. Exhale, sink the booty back. 2 more times, inhale, slight lift. Exhale, lower. Once more, inhale, slight lift. Exhale, lower, pause. Now we're going to add a little challenge here. If you'd like, you can slowly see if you can lower, 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 maybe completely lowering the booty towards the ground, keeping that right leg lifted. If you get to the point that you're like, I can't lower anymore, then just set your foot down and lower your booty to the ground. If not, maybe you lower, 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 hover for a moment, and then set the booty down, set that right leg down, and we're actually going to bring the left foot towards the left hip. So essentially, if you can see here, I had the foot still on the ground, brought it back by the side so the knees bent, left foot's on the ground. It's okay if it's not right next to your hip, but try to bring it as close as you can. Press that right knee down towards the mat, pull the toes back towards you. This is a variation of Paschimottanasana. Press that left hip down towards the mat so both sits bones are pressing down. Inhale, sit up super tall. Now from here, we're gonna begin to fold forward. If this is too much on the legs, on the knees, stay sitting up straight, okay? But on your exhale, maybe you begin to fold forward, walking those hands down towards that straight right leg, towards the right foot. On your next inhale, maybe you pull the heart forward more. On the exhale, maybe you lower a little bit deeper. Breathe deeply and keep trying to shift the weight toward that left side so that hip stays pressing down towards the mat. So it'd be a nice stretch on the front of that left thigh, also on the back of the right one. 2 more big breaths here. 1 more breath. On your next inhale, gently walk those hands back up towards you. On the exhale, swing that right leg so it's under the left foot. So we're just kind of bringing both legs to the side, and your choice. Hands can come to the ground, you can step on back, or do a little bit of a hop back. Either way, we're going to Chaturanga Dandasana, so 4-limb staff pose. And then on your inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, press those hips on back, down dog. Beautiful job. 5 big breaths in your downward facing dog. Reset, find your way back to the body, and simply notice how your left leg feels versus your right leg. Couple more big breaths. Breathe to the low belly. 1 more breath. On your next inhale, either step or hop your feet up between your hands. Rise up halfway when you get to the top of your mat. Exhale, fold to the feet. Inhale, come all the way up to standing hands, sweep out and around as you rise, palms touch at the top. And exhale, hands to heart center and down by the sides. Alrighty, same flow, other side. So step those feet out to hips distance, all 10 toes point forward, and we're starting by shifting that weight over toward the right foot now, so left foot gets light. We're starting with our 1 single-legged chair pose. So you can point the toes, keep them on the ground, whatever suits your body, leg bent or straight. When you're ready, exhale to sink those hips back, knees stay stacked over the ankle, left leg is strong and lifted. Take a big breath and we're gonna begin to flow. So on your next inhale, slightly straighten that leg. Exhale, lower back down. You got it, 2 more. Inhale, gentle lift. Exhale, sink it back. Alrighty, 1 more. Inhale, gentle lift. Exhale, sink it back. Now for our fun transition. So when you're ready, maybe you play around with lowering as far down as you can, Once you feel like you've hit your limit, you can just set the foot down and lower your booty all the way down. See how far you can go, play around with it, have fun. Maybe you hit that moment where you hover for a moment and then set the booty down. Left leg straightens on the mat, and eventually once you're down to the ground, right foot is gonna come by the right hip. So we're bending that knee and coming towards the side body. Once you get there, pause for a moment. Try to press that right hip and sits bone down towards the mat. Left knee presses down, toes pull back towards you. Inhale, sit up super tall. On your exhale, walk those hands down alongside that left straight leg. Again, no need to fold forward if that's too much. On your next inhale, pull the heart forward. Exhale, maybe you lower a little bit deeper. Pause here for a couple big breaths. Breathe deeply. Find the motion of drawing that left hip backward, pressing that right hip forward, and trying to stay pressing that right sits bone down towards the mat. So lots of stuff going on here. Again, if it's too much on that right knee, don't lower. That's okay. This is a deep pose. 2 more big breaths. 1 more breath. Beautiful. On your next inhale, if you're lowered down, walk those hands back up until you're sitting. Exhale. This time we're going to lift that right knee slightly, scooch the left foot under the right, and your choice. Bring those hands forward. You can either jump or step those feet on back. Lower yourself down into Chaturanga Dandasana, and on your inhale, lift on up, upward facing dog. Exhale, press it on back, down dog. Alrighty, 5 big breaths in your downward facing dog. Breathe deeply here. Come back to your breath. Notice how your legs, your body feels. Let's take 2 more full breaths. 1 more breath. Alrighty, on your next inhale, look between your hands. So lift the head, look between your thumbs, and then see if you can either step or hop the knees on the mat. So take a moment, you can watch me. We're just gonna kind of come forward and then lower the knees down right between our thumbs. So then we have our shins on the ground and we're gonna lift on up, bringing the hips over the knees. So take a moment, try that transition. You can also simply just step the knees down. Find whatever way works for you. Bring those knees to hips distance. Once you do, get yourself standing up on the knees, and then hands, prayer hands at the heart. So we're gonna do a little bit more thigh burning work here. So on your next inhale, crown of the head reaches up, and then on your exhale, keeping your body as straight as possible, can you lean on back? On your inhale, bring yourself forward. All right, we're gonna do that a couple more times. Exhale, lean on back. Should feel those thighs working. Inhale, come forward. Let's do 2 more. Exhale, lean on back. Inhale, come forward. 1 more. Exhale, lean on back. Inhale, come forward. All right, pause for a moment. This time we're gonna lean on back and hold. Try to keep those thighs squeezing towards each other rather than splaying outwards when you lean back. So control in the legs. All right, inhale, crown of the head reaches up. Exhale, lean back, only to a point that you can hold, and we're gonna pause for a couple big breaths. Keep those glutes pressing forward, low belly pulling in. 2 more big breaths, you got it. 1 more breath. On your next inhale, lift yourself up. Exhale, sit on back on those heels. Whoo-wee. Take a couple moments, hands can rest on the thighs, maybe eyes open or closed. Feel how the thighs feel. It's a big working motion for the thighs to lower and lift the body like that. So send your breath to the thighs. Take 2 more big breaths here. 1 more breath. Simply be in the body. Alrighty, we're gonna move to camel pose, Ustrasana next. Give ourselves a gentle back bend. So when you're ready, inhale, lift those hips on back up. Now this motion is very different than the one we just did. Though it still uses thigh strength, we're definitely not leaning back. This one, we're trying to keep those hips stacked over the knees the whole time. So we're really squeezing the glutes and pressing the hips forward. So bring those hands to the hips this time. Your choice. Fingertips can wrap around the front of the body, or palms can press into the low back with the fingertips pointing down. Find what works for you. Knees are hips distance, and on your next inhale, lift the crown of the head up towards the ceiling, and then squeeze the elbows towards each other along the midline of your back, and then exhale, lean it on back. Keep those hips over the knees and allow the heart to open. Breathe here. You can continue to look up towards the ceiling or drop the head back with the chin lifting up. Find what works for you. Let's take 2 more big breaths. 1 more breath. On your next inhale, gently peel yourself on up. And then exhale again. Sit back onto those heels. Pause for a breath or 2 here. Just notice how you're feeling. Take some big breaths if you notice that you're getting a head rush. And then once your low back feels like it's beginning to settle, draw the low belly in towards the spine. When you do this, it's going to create some space in the low back. So just take a moment, pull the low belly in towards you. Breathe through the low back. And then inch those knees towards each other so your thighs are touching. And then on your next exhale, come forward to child's pose. So allow your body to drape forward. Head can rest on the ground. Hands can be in front of you or down by your sides, whichever feels good for you. The reason we bring the knees and thighs close together to touch is to really open up and create lots of space in the low back rather than working into the hips as we do with the knees spread to a wider point. As you're here in child's pose, connect back with your breath. So notice how you're feeling. Maybe take a moment to reflect on your practice so far, if there's any themes, thoughts, anything that has been coming up for you so far. And just acknowledge them. Let them be. We're just here to become aware. Take a couple more big breaths and simply feel the breath ripple in and out of the body. If your arms are by your sides on your next inhale, bring them up ahead of you. Exhale once they're there. Inhale, walk the hands back towards you until you're sitting all the way up on those heels again. Beautiful, beautiful. On your exhale, swing those legs out around in front of you, and we're going to move to a gentle forward fold. Really stretch the legs and the low back out. So press the knees down, pull the toes back towards you. Inhale, sit up super tall, and then exhale, walk the hands down alongside your legs. Once you find a point that feels like a nice stretch on your next inhale, maybe you pull the heart forward, lengthen the back body, and then exhale, maybe you lower a little bit deeper. Keep your proper alignment here by pressing those knees down, pulling those toes back towards you. Legs are working, and just like that forward fold we did at the beginning of class, really try to bring the belly and the rib cage towards the thighs rather than trying to touch the toes. So continue to draw the heart forward, belly and rib cage towards the thighs. Couple more big breaths, shoulders relaxed down the back body. Where do you feel the breath within? Soften your gaze, relax your jaw. Couple more big breaths here. Great job. On your next inhale, walk the hands back up towards you until you're sitting all the way up, and we're going to lay down next. So on your exhale, if you need space, scoot yourself forward, hands reach out in front of you, and slowly lower yourself on down. Take your time, lowering yourself all the way to the back body, and then keep the feet flat on the ground with the knees bent. On your next inhale, straighten your right foot all the way up towards the ceiling, and then grab a hold of the back of your thigh. So we're going to go to a gentle leg stretch for the backs of the legs here. So if this feels like enough for you, stay exactly as you are. If you want to go a little bit deeper, flex that right foot like you want to press the heel of your foot into the ceiling above you. If you want to go even further, maybe you inch those hands up the leg. As you're here, continue to point the pinky toe side of the foot, almost like you want to point it toward that left front corner of your mat. So a little external rotation there on the hip joint. Breathe deeply. If you even want to go further, you can straighten that left leg down to the mat, flexing the foot as well there. So breathe here, a couple more big breaths, find what works in your body today. Again, no need to straighten the leg completely, just find where this feels like a good stretch for you. Relax the jaw, soften the shoulders, one more big breath here. If that left leg is straight, bring that foot back in, place it on the ground, and then on your exhale, lower that right foot down to the mat as well. And we'll do the same stretch on the other side. So inhale, left toes point all the way up to the ceiling, grab a hold of the back of the thigh, exhale. If you want to go a little bit further, flex the right foot towards you. And again, heel points directly ahead and then up towards the ceiling, like you really want to press the heel in towards the ceiling above you. So there's a lot of motion and activation going on through the leg right now. If you want to go a little bit further, you can always straighten that right leg now down to the mat. You can even inch the hands up that left leg and find what works for you. Couple big breaths here. Breathe through the back of your legs. And again, if it ever feels like too much, feel free to bend the left knee and come out of the stretch a little bit. If your right leg is straight on the mat, gently step it back in so the foot's flat on the ground, and only when you're ready to come on out, on an exhale, place the left foot back down on the mat. If there's any final stretches or shapes, poses you want to take before Shavasana, now is your time to do that. If you are ready for Shavasana, you can straighten out the legs, bring the hands by the sides, and find your cozy resting position. But take the next couple moments for yourself. Give yourself whatever you need before we close practice today. If you're still flowing, please take all the time that you need and only make your way to Shavasana when you are ready. And if you've found your way to your cozy resting position, gently draw your eyes closed. And begin to invite in a soft, easy, and a relaxed nature to your mind, to your body, to the space all around and within you. Begin to relax your body down, starting by softening the crown of your head. Soften your forehead, the eyebrows, and the eyes. Relax your temples, the cheekbones, and the jaw. Soften your lips and your teeth, and gently float the tongue down away from the roof of your mouth. Soften your ears, the back of your head, and your scalp. Relax the neck and throat, and melt the shoulders down towards the ground beneath you. Relax the upper arms, the elbows. Soften the lower arms and the wrists. And relax the hands, allowing the fingers to naturally curl inwards. Soften your chest, your rib cage, and your belly. And allow a wave of relaxation to ripple down the back body, softening every muscle and vertebra as it passes. Eventually, relax the glutes, the hips, and the pelvic region. Soften the upper legs and the knees. Relax the lower legs and the ankles. And soften your feet, allowing every toe to get a little bit lighter. Notice if you're holding on anywhere else in your body, and simply let go. Allow your body to take on a state of lightness and ease. And allow this state to translate to the mind, softening it as though it is a muscle itself, letting it melt and fade away. For the next couple of moments, simply rest here and now, allowing your body to soak in the goodness of your practice today. Gently begin to invite the awareness back in towards your body. Maybe you add subtle wiggles to the toes, the fingers, the wrists and ankles. Take your time. And only when you feel ready, gently roll over and pause to rest in a fetal position on either side. Again, only moving when you feel ready. And eventually press yourself all the way up to seated, keeping the eyes softly closed as you move. And we'll meet up in a comfortable seat with the eyes drawn closed and palms touching at heart center. And once you find your comfortable seat, take a couple moments to consciously observe how you feel right now. Draw your awareness to your mind, to your head space, and simply observe how it feels. What's the first word that comes to you to describe the state of your mind? And gently tune into your body and notice how it feels. What word describes the state of your body? And then check in with your emotional well-being. What emotion do you feel right now? And just notice, observe, let it be. Eventually give yourself a big smile and truly thank yourself for practicing today, for dedicating your time to your health, your life, and your yoga practice. And thank you so very much for sharing your beautiful practice and energy with me here today. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.